In a previous video, we talked about the format of one-song albums, something that comes around pretty rarely, but it's very interesting to see how or why an artist pulls it off. Here's 3 more examples of albums that only have one song. First will be Steroids, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Gabber by Death Grips. You're terminally online enough to be here, so you probably already know the basic gist of Death Grips' sound and style. Think that, but crank up the dial to 11 on the oddity and aggression. It starts off with a section that rivals even the harshest songs they've ever put out in its fast-paced, relentless energy, and doesn't get a lot more accessible from there. Some of the most surreal and unusual work the band has ever put together. I normally think the Death Grips are way more accessible than people say, but Steroids is one of a few exceptions. This one feels like it could have been separated into a few different tracks, and you can see where they would start and end normally, but with how smooth and seamless the transitions are, it's more like one song with multiple beat switches. It also predicted the future, but that's another rabbit hole entirely. Next up, we're going to talk about one of my favorite current underground artists, I Chased a Crow. This recently released 19-minute track titled Shell is one of the most beautiful, emotional pieces of music I've heard this year. It's another that can be separated into different sections, but the lines are even blurrier than the last entry, so it does really feel like one cohesive song. And between the quiet vocals, sweet guitar, and hazy atmosphere, the first several sections end up being very peaceful and somewhat relaxing. But the last 5 or so minutes are something else entirely. The explosive ending of this track is so emotional, so gratifying, and very well earned all around, and ties in so well with the devastatingly sad but also beautiful lyricism. It's such a well-rounded work as a whole. Finally, we're going with an absolutely legendary one, Dope Smoker by Sleep. It's technically 2 songs, but the second one gets switched around every time they reissue it. The title track is always the bulk of the runtime, and it's one of the most iconic songs ever within the stoner rock and sludge metal genres. It may not be the most casual listen, however, because it is over an hour long, clocking in at 63 minutes. And I'm sure you're thinking this is something much like Steroids, where you could easily split it into multiple songs if you wanted to, but really that's not the case here. There's multiple different verses, some solos, some bridge-like sections that do stand out, but overall it's going to be a similarly destructive, massive carrying on of heavy riffs front to back, and it's so fun and immersive to sink into every time I revisit it. This is absolutely worth a try, even if you aren't a big metal fan. That's the 3 we'll cover for today though. Remember to like and follow for more music-related content.